but it is mine.
That's
You
right.
know? So, yeah.
We'll take it away.
So how you sweep a floor, that is how I get people to understand what my name really is. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about pressure, life just has its pressures, when things aren't quite working the way you want them to. But if you own a business, there's no way to avoid pressure. Things have to get done when they need to get done. Finances aren't what you want them to be. It could be a myriad of things. Now, some of us are truly at our best under pressure. But that's not most of us. So we're going to be looking at 8 pressure patterns that most of us have. Most of us have at least 2 or 3 of these. Some of us are more talented and we can do all of these. But when we're in a pressure pattern, we are then pushed to relieve the anxiety that pressure is saying is on us, rather than getting done what needs to be done. So the more skillful we can be in managing our pressure patterns, the better off we'll be. Now, most people don't know their pressure patterns because it's just part of who they are, and they've really never thought about it. So this morning we're going to think about, well, what's your pressure pattern, and what can you do about it? So let's look at what they are. So you've got a sheet there that talks about, say, control. Now, there are times when the pressure is on. I remember a situation. I was working with a partner. We had a proposal to get done. It was late. It wasn't getting done. And so I just wanted to take it over, control it, and make it happen. She got pissed, of course, which then made everything even later. So it's that need to control under pressure doesn't really serve me well. Probably at some time in my younger years it did. But then it became a habit. And too often it simply doesn't. So do any of you all have control as a pressure pattern? Oh, here's one over here.
I don't, I'm sometimes very impatient,
Yes.
want it done, and if I don't see it going in the direction I want it to go in, I will take it over.
Yes. And what does that cost you sometimes?
It costs you a few things. It'll cost you respect of the folk that you're taking away from,
Yeah.
for one. 2, it takes away from your time, you're supposed to be doing something else.
Yeah.
So, those are 2 things right there.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say approvals is one that I always like to build a consensus. Sometimes I may go overboard and realize there's a decision that has to be made. But I'll err on the side of getting approvals.
Super. Yeah.
I like to delegate if I can.
That makes sense.
Try to.
Yes, that makes sense. Let's talk about another pressure pattern, hiding. As an entrepreneur, hiding isn't something we do because there's no place to hide for us, Except there are the times when the creditors are knocking on the door. The business needs something and the pressure is strong, and what we do is we dive into the details of our business rather than deal with the issues of the business. That's one of the ways that entrepreneurs and business people can hide. They get so into the nuts and bolts, but it's really a way that they are hiding from managing their overall business. Have any of you seen that issue?
Yeah, I mean, it's says here, surface one real concern. Sometimes, I zoom in on one thing, but it, I don't know if I read.
Procrastination?
Procrastination is one of the ways that we hide.
Keep bad news.
Yes.
I keep bad news, but sometimes if my job is to do something for somebody and get it done, I don't do a good job of sharing with them how crazy and chaotic it is.
Right, and what are you trying to avoid when you're doing that?
It's on some level, maybe I don't trust myself to be in the moment as much as and most people say I'm actually really pretty good in the moment, but I don't know, I don't like
Well,
that.
what most people think is one thing, but how you feel inside yourself.
Yeah, how I feel inside, like I've gotta have a handle on something before I, share bad news. I have to share the solution, in my opinion, before I share the bad
So
news.
you hide until you can find that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's a tough one too. Because the bad news creates the need, but again, that's also takes away from the conversation where you want it to go somewhat.
And a client will avoid telling you what the real problem is as well. And
Correct.
that's the other thing. And
Very
I'm a little slower now. I met up with Mike a couple of times, and I slowed up and let those problems come out now. Because unless you do, you do this.
It just
Superman
causes you
thing.
more problems.
Yeah, and then there's no value. Like I knew that already. No, you didn't. But anyway.
The next one is measuring. Maybe a better word for really is comparing. In my younger days, as a young OD professional, I would go to an OD conference and see all of these folks who are older and more experienced than me, and wind up putting myself down from comparing and measuring myself against them. And that kept me from building the partnerships that would have gotten me to where I am much faster than it has.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What if you don't measure at all? What if you never use that as,
Well, this is about measuring yourself against somebody else, against some external standard.
but what does it say if you're not doing that at all?
Maybe that's healthy. Let's just focus on getting done what I need to get done. I've worked with a lot of business owners who are so worried about their competition that they aren't getting their own work done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a ton of competitors, but I don't worry about them. I just stay focused on what I can do and what I know I do well. So comparing myself and measuring myself against others.
So not necessarily against measuring against your own standards that you set.
Oh,
measuring
that's
it.
true.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine, that's fine.
Because you still want your standards to know, to measure your level of success or not.
Yes,
But you're talking measuring against just competition.
yes.
Yeah, the last Entrepreneurs Roundtable, the big discussion was somebody's relationship with their competitors, and they didn't realize there's a home, actually, a professional association you can share your issues with. But it's interesting. I still think there's a part of me that it's a good thing sometimes to measure as well. You know what I'm saying? You're grounded on some level. Like competition is normal, but I don't really look at, I always try to do my own thing, and I never really do that, but I think it is good to, let's face it, you fit into certain industries and categories, and there's nothing wrong with measuring yourself against others unless it's over the top.
Unless it is getting in the way of doing what you need to be doing. And any of these things, I guess, can be good on occasion, but if it is distracting you from getting done what you need to get done. Now, keep in mind, we're also talking about these as pressure patterns. If you're comparing or measuring yourself is causing you pressure, then it's really not very useful. It's like, if I don't live up to this, then I'm really not good enough.
You almost paralyzes you.
Yes, yeah. Then is surrender. Again, this is one that business owners typically don't do, because if they surrender, they're out of business. So, yeah.
I don't do this in business, but I do it in my personal life.
You know, if I look at these things, there are a lot that I do in my personal life that I don't do.
And vice
business,
versa.
You know, yeah. With a lady friend, you know, she wants to have an argument with me. I said, oh, it's okay.
Yep, whatever you say.
What? Yes.
Which makes them mad.
Of course, I have to pay a price for it later on. You know? So.
I always try to compromise.
Yeah.
And, tell them what my, my standard is, or what I want to have happen.
Mm.
And, they come back and then we try to compromise on that.
That's certainly a healthier
Yeah.
way of doing it. Yes.
Now, do you actually, when you tell them what you want, is that already a compromised position, or is it actually what you want?
That's a good point.
No, because sometimes I come back and say, well, this is what I want.
Okay.
That's
And,
good.
and then they
Yeah.
will come back.
How'd you learn to do all this healthy stuff?
What's healthy?
What you've been sharing with us,
Yeah.
that is
What
very
you just
healthy.
said is very healthy.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I'm learning. I'm definitely learning. This is a big issue, pressure. It really is.
Absolutely. So be thinking about, how did you learn this stuff? Because others of us need to hear what you've learned, which is good.
Thank you.
Yeah. That you have this thing about being kind of shy and bashful. Right, and not wanting to blow your own horn. But I think you're pretty wise.
Thank you.
Am I on target about that, or am I making that up?
As I say, it's a big topic and I want to learn from you. Because there's a lot more to learn.
Yeah. What works for me is for me to learn from everyone that's here, and that includes you. Okay.
To me, that surrender thing, I'm sorry, I know it's on the next topic, but that
Go on.
surrender thing is a lot easier to mitigate in business than it is, you talk about your personal life. I think in business, we're a lot more, we have a passion for our business, but we're a lot more rational when it comes to our business. Where our personal life, it goes into the emotional stage, out of a passion stage. And it's almost a fight or flight mentality, and you decide to fly at that point to keep that emotional state.
Yes.
So, whereas like in business, you're a lot more calculated, a lot more rational.
Yeah.
And in that passion stage, you're not quite.
Yeah, that is the issue. Under pressure, we wind up managing our emotional state more than we are managing our business.
Correct.
There's just lots of wisdom in this room, for sure. Yeah. Okay. There is a way that I've seen entrepreneurs surrender when they shouldn't. They will surrender to their customer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And give up more than they should.
Become an order taker instead of a partner, is what we say in my business.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Right, and that is in my business too. That many of the students coming into my field want to just please the client that called them, which then destroys their ability to really help that client, because they need a partnership
That's
with
right.
that client. I have to have that, or I really can't make a difference.
How important relating to that is follow-up? Would that be part of surrender, following up?
No, following up is critically important. It's when you believe in the customer is always right. That often leads to surrender. Because often the customer is just plain wrong. Right, and we need to understand that and be compassionate with them. Certainly, we don't need to beat them up about it, but we do not need to give in to them simply because they are angry, simply because they are being insistent. We still need to, manage our business well and managing our pricing well and all of that. Deflection. This is a good one I've seen many of my clients do. Pressure's on, it's time to make a joke, change the subject, or do anything but deal with the tension that's right in the room right now. Conflict avoidance is a lot of what this is about. And the conflict that we avoid just goes underground and continues to eat you up. Continues to eat you up. It becomes passive aggressive quite often. And then that costs you more time, and more time, and more time. So, do any of you deflect when things get tight?
Go ahead.
On the on the big rocks of life, it seems like it's natural. Like my brother's going through, he just found out he had pancreatic cancer. And so we have a family chat going on, and as soon as if there's a real sensitive subject matter, it seems like people go off into their side jokes about this. And my daughter, who's going into counseling, she's getting her license now. It was just driving her crazy because then people deflect by not taking what she was contributing very seriously. And but yeah, deflection on the big rock types of things is very natural almost.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna say, this is more on a personal level as well, for the same reasons. The big items you tend to, I don't wanna say avoid, I guess deflect is a better word for it, just, cause you only handle so many crises in your life. Usually it's the big ones you can handle, it's the small ones you don't, that usually get you.
Yes.
But this is one where, again, you don't wanna tackle, or you're not ready to tackle it yet. So, that's just what I see a lot of.
If that is once in a while, that's just fine. But when it has become a pattern of deflecting the small ones, that's when the small ones start building up, and now there's a bunch of big ones. Yeah. How about withdrawal?
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if I feel that pressure, I do tend to, put up my wall and, do my thing. But I'm getting way more aware of myself and working on, recognizing when that's coming.
That is the key.
Right? Lifelong learning.
Yeah. if my partner really wants to push too hard, I just go, well, it's related to the surrender, you know. That's okay, I'll just do it your way, right, and hide, right, and then I have to pay a price for that later because it really didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen, and then I'll make her pay for it. The division is always an interesting one. Us and them thinking somebody can get to blame, you know, it always tickles me when I hear a business owner start blaming their customers. I said, come on.
Yeah.
No. Now, how do you expect your customers to come back if you are blaming them for the problems you have? If I just didn't have customers, my business would be fine. Oh, now, what sense does that make? Yeah. So who do you blame when things aren't working, particularly in your business?
I go the opposite, I blame myself.
Yeah, me too, me too.
To me, it's
Even
just
if it has
easier.
nothing to do with
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
How useful is that?
It's not, it's good to call the situation where it is. If it's a customer's issue, bring it up. If it is yours, then bring it up as well, you know, but.
Sometimes it's easier to blame yourself, take the heat, make the changes you need to make, and go the path of least resistance. But it doesn't always get the outcome you want either.
And then the issue is, but if that's a relationship you have, you can't do it. It's not like if you're never gonna have a relationship with whoever that's with, that's one thing, but, it's, as you're saying, follow through. It's important to have a secure relationship with the person, and even if that means they go away or what, it is easy to internalize it, try to be the best you can be, and, you know, but I have found that if it is the other person's fault, that never changes the other person's behavior, they just double down, you know.
Probably the one I see most in this area is business owners that want to blame their employees. It's us against them. My employees are my enemy. Now, how can you make that work?
And you can't
But I've
function
seen
that way
it
anymore.
so often.
No.
Yeah. If only my employees would do X, Y, or Z.
I've heard people say that before too.
It's that us against them kind of mentality. It's their fault. If they ever got their act together, I'd be okay. Now, in my business, if a client calls me up, almost always they'll start out with, my people are the problem.
No, it's always they're the problem.
And my job then is to help them see what they are doing that is contributing to that problem. Because if there's a problem in your organization, and it's your organization, you're doing something that has created that issue. The last one is authority and doubt. It's like the pressure is on, and that's when you start doubting your own authority. You start doubting your own ability. And you reach for somebody else to give you the answer.
I go over my emails a lot. You know, did I say the right thing?
Can you hear the doubt there? Yes. How much much time does that waste of yours?
It adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's up. That's right. That's right.
Isn't it, and I'm not saying it's okay, but I think we all, just as humans, go through that self-doubt at times. Maybe not in yourself and your abilities, because you want to be confident in yourself, but just in the results that you're seeing.
Of course.
Isn't it?
Of course. It's only when it has become a pattern.
And I need to get
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah. So that these are things you do automatically when the pressure comes.
And you get stuck, that's what you're saying, you get
Yeah.
stuck on it
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
move through it.
Because any of these things can be useful at a particular point in time. But when it has become a pattern, and this is what you automatically do when the pressure hits, there's a pretty good chance that you're doing it in a situation where it is no longer useful.
That's the key.
So to begin to look at, what is your pattern that you find yourself mostly getting stuck in when the pressure hits? Need to hear from each of you about this one.
Control.
Control, okay. Yeah. And that's something you learned a long time ago, right? Yes. Yes.
For me, there's two of them, and one I've worked on quite a bit. Control for sure. Again, I'm very much, I know what I want, what I expect, and sometimes if I don't see it, if I don't see it going in the right direction,
That's right.
I do, and I've been working on that one, because I've seen it before, and because it just hinders people's growth as well. And then measuring sometimes. Being military for 21 years, you're always in competition with everybody else at your same rank for that next rank.
Got it.
And then especially now, in the office I have, where we have like over 100 agents for one area,
Wow.
is competition.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm measuring against my own standards, my own expectations, but there is that competition with each other.
Right. How's it getting in your way?
Honestly, for lack of trust, and because I'm one that always is out there to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Always when that, and they'll tell you that. The ones that I see that don't put out that same type of effort, especially for the younger folks, I tend to distrust them.
Interesting.
You know,
What might you do differently?
if I really wanted to work on that, it might be to an extent. Some of it you gotta keep, because it is a competitive
Business, sure.
It is just be more open.
Yeah.
That's really the one that I could think of.
Yeah. The answer is always pretty simple. And we typically already know it. But on automatic, we're not thinking about it. So we just go into our automatic, which is not trust them, push them away, and then they don't get the help that maybe you could give them.
I guess it's that defense mechanism that you have,
Well, that's what we're talking about here.
the prior survival.
Mine's a toss-up between hiding, and that's keeping bad news quiet. I think we need to be able to, and it's funny, Michael had approached me about doing something in the financial space about the uneasiness of finance, as most people have it. It was really quite fascinating, our initial conversations. But a lot of that is like, I've always taken it for granted. I kind of grew up in a household where we talked about work or money, and so you thought everybody had that same thing, but it's good. Sometimes it's good to bring up bad news for somebody. Like, to have a person go to retire, and they're like, why are we setting up an LLC? Because you're not retiring, that's why. You don't have enough to retire. And so I think that one, and then second guessing, it's you brought up that key thing about working with, when it's the other person's problem, I always try to see, almost like you were asking about, what did I say that they didn't register? Like, you think if you did something differently, that person would realize that they did something wrong? And maybe there's some truth to that, but that second guessing, like, is it something, okay, maybe I didn't articulate my point enough for that person to understand it's them that's the issue. And again, that's bad news, wrapped up for them.
Fascinating, isn't it? Yes.
Mine is a toss-up between measuring and doubt.
Hmm.
Because, I'm always trying to get the highest standard, and yet on the same token, I check my emails, I check my texts, did I do the right thing, did I say the right thing, is it too much to expect or whatever.
And I noticed that when I was giving you a compliment, you didn't want to take it. Yeah, that's that self-doubt that gets in your way. How does it get in your way?
Well, it's a pressure point. Just everyday life, every kind of decision that I have to make, or the important decisions, then I go back to, what would so-and-so do, or,
Right, and you worry about it, I bet.
I do.
Yeah. And you go over it and over it and over it and over it. Is that
To
right?
a point,
Up to a point?
you're right.
If it's working for you, fine. But typically these things are not. Yeah. It's when it has become a habitual pattern, that's when we need to take control of it, because these patterns, when we're stuck in them, they're managing us rather than us managing them. And we're going to look at what to do about that shortly, but let's hear what yours is.
I would say hiding and withdrawal.
Fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So here's looking at what we're going to do about it. For you two, probably the biggest problem with pressure patterns is that we don't even recognize that it's happening. Because it's automatic, it happens fast, and we just find ourselves, controlling. Controlling is probably one of the biggest ones for business owners. And it happens so fast, we don't even notice that we're doing it until we've caused the problem. And go, oh shit, I did it again. Now, the key to noticing it is when the pressure patterns start, there's always, the first hint is you can feel it in your body. Your chest gets tight. Your throat gets tight. Your jaws clench. Your stomach knots up. That you can feel the anxiety in your body. That is where it always starts. It starts in your body before your mind actually notices it. It's in your shoulders. Oh, I like the measuring one here. That your eyes get restless, you just start looking around. Who's doing what here? So you can look down the list for your favorite pattern and see if the body signal fits.
So now I'm changing my mind, cause the body,
Okay.
so now mine's gonna be doubt for sure. Cause I know what my body does, so, yeah.
On the two that I mentioned, I get a massage once a week, and the massage therapist kept on saying, Gil, the last few weeks, your shoulder is like so tightened, and there's the hiding.
Yes.
And then I talked to my daughter last night about health, and the first thing I said was breathing. I felt like when I went to the Causeway and Honeymoon Island, also my breathing was normal. And then it's been like short recently, and I'm sure it's something I'm hiding.
It's your body giving you a signal that there's some pressure going on, that there's some anxiety going on. Now, again, this pressure isn't coming from outside. It's often pressure that we're putting on ourselves.
Body's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Just have to listen to it.
Right.
And
There's that.
There you go. But we live in a society that says,
Work through it.
Ignore it, yeah.
don't worry about your body.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Just
Power
keep going.
through.
Power through.
Yeah, power
Yes.
through.
Shake it off.
That's interesting.
Right, man up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that
Oh.
Have
drop
some
dead.
coffee and a sweet treat and get back to it.
It does work sometimes.
Yeah.
Notice how we know all this. Notice how we know all this stuff. Yeah. But often we haven't quite put it together this way. When you notice it in your body, then you notice your mind signal. That's the third column here. That actually is now you doing it. So now, don't take these as absolute truth, but look and see what in here fits for you. Because you know your body and your mind better than what's on this sheet. So once you get a handle on this, and if you really want to do something about your pressure pattern, then let's look at the bottom part. How can we shift out of it? First, can you take a breath? Can you just stop for a moment and take a breath? 1 or 2 deep breaths can make a huge difference. It puts you back in charge rather than your pattern being in charge. And then ask yourself, what's going on here? What am I afraid of? What am I anxious about? Am I afraid I'm going to lose this contract? Am I concerned how I will make the wrong call? What is it that I'm afraid of here? Now again, we live in a society where we're not supposed to be afraid of anything. Us guys have this one in spades. Yeah. Man up, push on through. So yeah, can you just be willing to ask yourself, what is it I'm really afraid of here?
I don't know. I think it's women too.
Yeah,
Call me a feminist,
I think it comes from a different place. I I think for a woman, if you feel like you have to have everything together.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, you know, especially if you're married, have kids, you're the one that has to keep everyone together. With a guy, I think it's more of that bravado that we gotta have their chest puffed out and shoulders back and
Can't show it.
correct, and you can't show the weakness. I think that's, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please
Well,
smack me around,
society
but-
says that for sure. Yeah,
Particularly if you're a business owner.
yeah,
You're supposed to be the strong one in the room.
yeah.
Right, and you're not supposed to show any weakness to your people. So this is when women have the same issues as the guys do. Because you are running a business and you're a leader. And you're supposed to have your act together all the time, which is the most nonsense.
They call that an enabler.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you notice that you're in your pressure pattern, what's the fear of
Failing.
failing?
The worst that can happen.
Failing is the worst that can happen. It's often a little more specific than just failing. That is the ultimate.
I think trust.
But can you think of a time when you were in your pressure pattern and think of, in that moment, what was it you were afraid of?
Afraid of looking bad.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Yeah, it's more the reputation
Yes,
side of
indeed.
things.
Yes, indeed.
I'm the person who never lets the ball drop.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That's how we do it ourselves. Because if we can really look at this, if you're really willing to look at this, it will almost always be, it's your ego saying, if I don't do this, I won't be okay. Not necessarily failure, but oh, they won't think I'm not good enough. I won't think I'm good enough. Well, that is the bigger one. That I've done something wrong. I will have done something wrong, and that's not okay. 95% of the time, it's going to be your ego. This making sense to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to look good in front of everybody all the time,
Yeah.
particularly the folks that I work with.
And where do we get that?
What's your answer to that?
It's family, comes back
Yeah.
down to your upbringing.
Childhood.
It's it's a tough topic for people. That's why when I just see everybody just sitting there, oh, we're gonna get on an AI and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna, oh, what a perfect mechanism to avoid people from ever having to deal with another human ever again. And it's just, it's all private, however you were raised. There's great things about it, there's negative things about it. A lot of it starts from there. You know, I'm always here blaming the
That's why
school system on
These
stuff.
are simply issues of human beings, and that means every last one of them. So there's nothing wrong with us because we have these patterns, because everybody has them.
My brother having the pancreatic disease, you know, it's just highlighting it. You know, because the whole family is contacting and we're all involved, and then half of them are like getting pissed off at other people's patterns or responses, but it just is what it is. But it's a moment that we can heal, you know, for whatever needs to be healed from, and really, you know, set a better path going forward. So my brother's got, you know, if he's lucky, he'll have 6 months to live.
Yeah.
I want to make it, my mission is for it to be the best 6 months he's
Super.
ever lived.
Super.
Yeah.
You said something that is very interesting, actually. other people's patterns. My pattern can trigger your pattern.
Yeah, it's what
And
family
now
is. Yeah.
it's our patterns fighting each other.
So you're saying a series of patterns existed in a tribal unit or whatever? Yeah.
Think about the family you just talked about. People's patterns are bumping up against each other, and now everybody's unhappy. If somebody could just notice, and your daughter is trying to be helpful, but she's being rejected, which triggers her pattern,
Right.
so now she's pissed off.
Yeah.
And the whole thing gets nuts.
And when you surrender, it gives me another ball to carry. Like I am now,
I love it, yeah.
Yeah.
Once we begin to see this stuff, and how our patterns trigger other people's patterns, or your pattern has been triggered by somebody else's pattern, and off we go, and wonder why things aren't getting done.
And now your brother's worried about everybody's triggers.
There you go.
Most haven't triggered anything to him.
Okay, good.
It's been positive, it's been side, and again, I'm the one, my role in the family's always been keep the peace, kind of hide and, overanalyze and we're actually, it's bizarre, but the whole thing is a pretty supportive group, but there's
Well, yeah.
certain dynamics that, God, and I know my brother's feeling some of them, so, I wanna try to do what I can do to kind of get everybody, including myself, to see the patterns.
What you said though is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because there was a time I got sick. And that triggered other people's pressure patterns. That then I felt the need that I had to take care of the
Right.
pressure, because that triggered my pressure pattern. And I said, oh God. This is so fucked up. Yeah. So if we can begin to see ourselves, and maybe even see somebody else's pattern, and not blame them for it, but simply go, feels pressure there, huh? And get them to talk about it, things might calm down. Things might calm down, rather than their pattern simply triggering your pattern, which then triggers their pattern, and it just keeps going and escalating.
I think time is a factor in everything.
Say more about that.
Well, if someone has to take control and yet they want to delegate, and the person that they're delegating to has a problem, does the one that has the control have time to, explore what the other person
Yeah.
is going through?
Yeah. That's a good question, There's this question of, if I'm stuck in my control pattern, I think I don't have time. And maybe if I take the time, that'll ease the pressure so things then can get done more easily. But if I'm pressuring you, and that triggers your pressure pattern, now both of us are stuck and nothing's getting done. Maybe if I can notice, okay, I'm trying to control her, maybe I just need to slow down and say, man, what's going on? That might get us both unstuck more than my trying to control you. Compassion, while being firm. I mean, this is not about, letting folks lie, but it is about understanding people well enough that the relationship stays healthy and you can get something done rather than getting in that spiral of pressure patterns. So there, we got 2 minutes left. Questions, thoughts, feedback?
That was
No, no.
amazing, amazing.
That was great.
That was great.
Very good.
Here's just an extra sheet about yours truly.
Ayla, thanks for organizing this.
Yeah,
Yes,
this was-
I so appreciate you sharing your wisdom and experience with us.
Yes.
Well, what I want to do is really to do this monthly. Probably not in this setting, but a monthly workshop, because I've been doing this stuff, I started 47 years now. So I've got tons of
Sign me up.
super, yeah. So you will be getting notification, of when these monthly workshops will start.
And you'll get a registration every time from me.
Super, because what I want to do is, the more folks can experience this and get value from it, then you tell other folks. This is a start,
Exactly.
and we will just keep going. So, don't hesitate to give a call, for, I don't know, the next 6 months to a year. My services to you are free. So, don't hesitate to give a call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Very nice.